Session. This is our formal meeting format. I ask my colleagues to please acknowledge their presence on the voting board. At this time, I ask everyone to join me in a moment of silence. Please rise as you are able for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We will now proceed with our public awards and recognitions. Mr. McDonald.
Thank you. The school board is proud to recognize the school division's Department of Budget and Finance for earning the Meritorious Budget Award for its 2016-2017 budget document. Accepting the recognition for the department is Chief Financial Officer Farrell Hunziker, also known as, to some, Budget Man. This distinction is presented by the Association of School Business Officials International to recognize school divisions that demonstrate excellence in preparing a budget document that exemplifies best financial practices. In addition, the document must be presented to the community in a manner that is easy to understand, provides clarity and transparency on how funds are generated and allocated, and offers an opportunity to communicate future budget challenges. Meeting all of these criteria takes a top-notch group of professionals. So, if we could ask members of the Budget and Finance to please stand to be recognized. Congratulations to all of you. Congratulations to all of you on this well-deserved, outstanding award. Mrs. Chairwoman, this is our only recognition this evening.
Dr. Spence, we look forward to hearing the superintendent's report.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman and members of the board. Tonight, I'm proud to highlight not one, but two of our extraordinary students. This summer, the Joint Science and Technology Institute in Washington, D.C. received 30,000 applications from students across the globe who wanted to take part in their summer STEM camp. The JSTI only accepts 90 students into both its high school and middle school program, and I'm very proud to say that two of those students were from right here in Virginia Beach. So right now we're going to hear from Lynn Haven Middle School's Alex Preston and Ocean Lakes High School's Jellica Calderon about their experience this summer.
I called my mom and she gave me the news and I was like over the moon excited, so I stayed up till like 11 o'clock because I was really excited.
It was such a big privilege to know that I was one of the 60 students for the high school students to attend. Like, I would just go to sleep. I remember going to sleep every night and just like talking to my roommate, just being like, how did we get here?
We took chemicals, like liquid chemicals, we put them on a stick and put them over a fire to see the different kinds of like flame colors that it made and the different gases. We had like an indicator based on each color, which like gas it made.
I was in the Raspberry Pi group, like I said earlier, and Raspberry Pi is a Linux-based credit card-sized computer used to get young individuals back into coding. So we did a lot of mini projects with these. So we created a Google Assistant, which is like a Siri. We created Pi-Top laptops with the Raspberry Pi, a photo booth, a magic mirror, which is just like a monitor screen where it could set out the time, the weather, whatever you want. We coded a video game simulation, and we also created a digital photo frame.
It was such like a memorable experience because it was like a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Now I have some like momentum going into school. My brain is refreshed and I can like have some background during the summer going into the 8th grade.
So I learned a lot about, problem solving, looking at things in a new creative way that I haven't thought of before. That's been really helpful. And patience, a lot of patience.
Well, I think that is a fantastic way to spend the summer, and I love hearing that that gives our students momentum as they head into the school year, and that they learn a lot of the things that we're hoping that they'll learn, and we're able to apply those during the summer. What I also love about this experience is that for both Alex and Jellica, it's been a family affair. Jellica's older sister took part in the JSTI, which is what inspired her to apply this year, and now we're hearing that Alex's younger sister, Joy, is deciding she's going to apply for the middle school program as well. So let me introduce Alex, who is here with his family tonight. Alex, if you and your family could stand up and be recognized. Unfortunately, Jellica could not attend tonight's meeting, but I do want to thank both of you for your dedication to your education and spending your time in the summer to challenge yourselves further and to expand your learning. As always, the Compass Keepers video will be posted on the homepage of vbschools.com, and you can read about additional members on the division's blog, which is the core. Before I close my comments tonight, though, I do want to take just a moment to wish many of our class of 2017 graduates well as they head off to college this month. In particular, I would like to acknowledge the potential anxiety of some of the freshmen who may be beginning orientation at UVA this Saturday. And I think it's important that we, as much as possible, reassure those students and their parents of the wonderful experiences that will await them. Like many of you, I watched the news coverage of Charlottesville last weekend and was stunned at the violence and conflict on the screen. And as many of you know, I'm a proud UVA alumnus, and as such, Charlottesville was my home for many years. The city that I saw on television this weekend is not the city that I know. And I don't believe the events are a reflection of the people who live and work and learn there. Instead, what I think we saw was a small group of people who were fueled by emotions I don't understand. A group of people for whom the suggestion of acceptance or tolerance or empathy seemed to be interpreted as acts of aggression. I firmly believe we must all do our part to speak out against hate and take action to ensure that it does not overshadow the things that are right about our country and our world, which is why I just want to emphasize again that our work here that we do is so important. Because ignorance is hatred's best ally, and it's easy to hate what you don't know and what you don't understand. So that also means that education is the ultimate peacemaker. And I'm so proud of this division, and I'm so proud of the work that we do, because we both celebrate and appreciate the diversity that we have here in Virginia Beach. And each day we work to leverage the strengths of that diversity to make us more understanding and more united. I think, too, that's the culture on the campus of the University of Virginia and in the Charlottesville community, which I know from personal experience willingly and lovingly embraces those young people. It's understandable that we would be disheartened by the detestable words and actions of others, but I hope we will not lose heart, and instead I hope we are inspired to keep our focus on the good work we're doing every day in our classrooms, because that work has to continue to be the changing tide for our country. Our students from every socioeconomic background and every race, growing together, learning together, and sharing together, can and will showcase for everyone the power of a united community and a united country. Madam Chairwoman, that concludes my report.
Thank you, Dr. Spence. Madam Clerk, do we have any speakers on agenda items?
No, ma'am.
Thank you. The chair will entertain a motion to approve the minutes of our last meeting on August 1st. Motion is made by Ms. McLeod, seconded by Mr. McDonald. Okay, but seconded by Mr. Edwards. Mr. McDonald will be abstaining on this. So voting board is open.
Thanks. That's rough to watch that.
Thank you. The minutes have been approved. The chair will entertain a motion to adopt the agenda for this meeting. Ms. Manning has made the motion to adopt, and Mr. McDonald has seconded. The voting board is open. The agenda has been adopted. There are no items on the consent agenda for this evening. We only have one item on the action part of the agenda. The chair will entertain a motion to approve the personnel report and administrative appointments. Ms. Malnick has made the motion. Ms. Riggs has seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, the voting board is open. The personnel and administrative appointments have been approved. Dr. Spence, would you like to introduce any new administrators?
I would. Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. First, let me just recognize that although she's not able to be in attendance this evening, we're very pleased that you this evening have approved our recommendation for Dr. Allison Bach to serve as the Program Evaluation Specialist in the Department of Planning, Innovation, and Accountability, and I know we all welcome her to Virginia Beach City Public Schools. We do have two guests here who were previously approved, but were, because of the summer months, unable to join us, and we've asked them to join us this evening to introduce them to you. And so if I could ask Dr. Felina Williams to please stand up. Dr. Williams has served with distinction as a school psychologist, a pre-doctoral intern at Eastern Virginia Medical School, a postdoctoral fellow at the University of Rochester Strong Memorial Hospital, as a school psychologist in Stafford County Public Schools, and most recently in Fairfax County Public Schools. And I'm very pleased that you recently approved our recommendation for her to serve as a neuropsychologist in the Office of Student Support Services. Welcome, Dr. Williams. And I understand you have some guests with you.
Yes, tonight I have my mother, Williams, my mother, my father.
Well, thank you all for being here. If I could also ask Tennille Bowser to please stand. Ms. Bowser has served as a teacher in the District of Columbia, as a literacy collaborative student at George Washington University. She's been a teacher at Woodrow Wilson High School in the District of Columbia, and most recently an assistant principal at Woodrow Wilson High School in the District of Columbia. And I'm pleased that you recently approved our recommendation for her to serve as an assistant principal at Lansdowne Middle School. Welcome.
Thank you.
And I understand you also have a guest with you.
I do. I have my mother, Bessie Bowser.
Thank you all for being here. And thank you, Madam Chairwoman. That's it.
Thank you, Dr. Spence. The information part of our agenda is next. First, we have the program evaluation schedule for 2017-2018. Welcome. Thank you.
This evening, I will share the program evaluation based on the board policy. Before presenting the evaluation, I'll provide a brief review of the evaluation reports that will be provided this fall based on last year's schedule. Reports that were provided this year 2000 reports will be provided year one evaluation of the final evaluation report will be made. At this time, the 2017 process As a brief review, school board policy outlines the evaluation requirements for new programs operate evaluation and during the final year. In addition, the program evaluation programs for possible representatives from various departments of schools, committee members rank programs for evaluation based on rubrics aligned with health. Criteria are noted on the slide. Based on the design of the rubric, programs that are rated the highest and ultimately recommended for evaluation are those that have the potential to have large positive impact on students. Those that utilize greater resources have larger scale of student and staff involvement. Those that are not maximizing resources for benefit of and programs with limited information on that. Next, the proposed evaluation staff regarding final. Finally, we offer research evaluation staff to determine the type of evaluation that this slide presents the proposed evaluation schedule for 2017. Four programs listed represent previously planned evaluations for updates on longitudinal studies trends and progress. The final comprehensive evaluation has a new academy schedule for 2017-2018 will be the Entrepreneurship Assistance Academy evaluation will continue in the school counseling program second year, a 3-year evaluation schedule will focus on the program's policy. Finally, the annual longitudinal study update and academic program. 3 additions are included on the evaluation schedule, including the second language program, the lead aspiring administrative program, and the each of these programs is highly evaluation readiness process will allow the evaluator to collaborate with the program management staff to define the design of the evaluation and to develop.
Are there any questions at this time? Thank you, Ms. Janicki. The Special Education Advisory Committee has some new appointments, and that is next on our agenda.
Good evening, Chairwoman Anderson, Chairman, Vice Chair Edwards, Dr. Spence, and school board members. Tonight we're here to provide a recommendation of the Virginia Beach Special Education Advisory Committee to you. Before you this evening, you will find Special Education Advisory Committee membership requests for Denise Glatt, Laura Sherdlock, Sherry Height, and Brent Albada. As required by the SEAC bylaws, we have vetted each of those requests through the SEAC membership subcommittee and the Special Education Advisory Committee to ensure that all the requirements were met by our bylaws. Based on our review, we recommend that Denise Glatt and Brett Albada be individually appointed to the Special Education Advisory Committee. Bayside Library Special Services be appointed as a community representative, with Lori Shedlock serving as the Disability Services librarian, and Sherry Height, a current Virginia Beach Special Education PALS teacher, be appointed to the SEAC as a consultant. Please feel free to contact the Special Education Advisory Committee with any future comments, recommendations, questions that you may have. And thank you for your consideration of our request. Thank you.
Thank you. We will have that on our agenda at our next meeting. Next on,
I would like to have the members who are in attendance stand up. I think that would be great, so you all are able to.
Absolutely.
see
Go right
the
ahead.
members. You all would stand, that'd be great.
thank you for coming.
Any questions?
Thank you, sir.
Madam Chair, if you don't mind, I had a few questions to ask.
Yes,
If
ma'am.
not,
Come
if
on
possible.
back up.
Thank you.
Sure.
Miss
Great.
Felton?
First, I'd like to say thank you to you and your staff for taking on this volunteer services we do appreciate your time that you're giving to us as a school board and to our students. We do honor all that you do. But I'd just like to say and thank you to the volunteers that are here today. But I'd like to ask you for one point, if you could ask, what is the current demographic of the SEAC committee as we speak?
Demographic in terms of
The members.
elementary, middle, high. I would say pretty diverse. Obviously, we have applications that you should have received identifying which the new members are representing.
Right.
Some of the other members are high school, middle school. Some of the new ones are coming on are elementary. Get older.
And again, I would say thank you for what you're doing. But I'd like to ask, are you having conversation about how to expand the diversity of this group? And I say in the manner of CAC Gifted Committee, how that's put together process. Are you thinking of our conversation is going on with that?
We are. I think if you look in our bylaws, you'll see that we strive towards, as big of diversity as able. People obviously have to, apply for membership. So that would be, a challenge. We try and seek out membership, based on obviously a variety of things. And we look towards the principals, obviously you all are able to recommend somebody to the school board. We would welcome that. To the Special Education Advisory Committee. So we do kind of work with what we have. But
And you do, at the end, you bring up a good concept because a lot of times we will say the I mentality, but I want to say that we and we work as a team, and looking at Dr. Smith's overall response to equity within our 5-year plan. Maybe that is something that we all should do to enhance it, to get that done. But I'd like to say again, thank you for all that you do, and I do look forward to working along and beside you and getting that done because we do want the whole aspect of our division to be represented.
yeah, and I think our bylaws would indicate that, and we would, strive towards diversity as much as possible, but we would welcome any recommendations that people have.
So now, and with this again, we'll just start that conversation with start the conversation having that to be done. Thank you again so much for all that you do.
Thank you.
Ms. Weems has a question, I think.
Thank you. It's good to see you, Sandy. Thank you again for all that y'all do. I was going to actually call one of y'all and ask this questions, but since my colleague kind of brought it up, I know the Gifted Advisory Committee does it through zones. I guess they call it zones. Districts, thank you. And I don't believe that SEAC does it by districts. With this conversation too, have you ever thought about that to make sure that we get every district covered because the Virginia Beach is so large? Could we start doing that to kind of mirror?
We absolutely could start doing that. I think we have membership that can be up to 20 members, so we would be kind of wider than the division, if you will.
Right,
if you
right.
broke it into zones. Here again, the bylaws would indicate, to seek diversity, and we look at diversity in terms of, could be elementary, middle,
Exactly,
high
right. There's a
school.
lot,
We
yeah.
would look at diversity in terms of race. We would look at diversity, in a whole kind of
Disability, yeah, right.
Special education students don't touch any one population.
Right.
It kind of cuts across the board. So we would look. I think when, different than the gifted advisory committee, I think we have community representatives. So, we don't really identify, who is being sent as a community representative. We can't say we want, somebody of this race or that race, or, has a student with elementary, they would send them.
Right.
But absolutely, I mean, we've tried to, look at those things. What we would not want to do was cut down on membership requests overall.
Yeah, right.
Right.
Okay.
So.
Okay, well, great. Thank you.
I think we have one more. Ms. Manning?
And I would just like to say thank you to everybody that serves on SEAC. Many of you have full-time jobs. I know how much time and effort that you put into this, and I know that you will represent every student, not just your own. So thank you so much for looking out for all of our special needs students, and I appreciate it, and we're here for you if you need us.
Thank you very much. Next on the agenda, we have information about the Policy Review Committee recommendations. Mrs. Linetti.
Madam Chairman, Mr. Vice Chairman, school board members, Dr. Spence, I'm Cami Linetti, school board legal counsel. On behalf of the Policy Review Committee, I'm going to go over the recommendations that the Policy Review Committee has come up with this summer. I will stress for you one of these policies we are going to pull back, but I'm going to explain that one to you. The first one you have up is Policy 371. This is actually a new policy. And I want to explain a little background to it. The Public-Private Education Facilities and Infrastructure Act is an act that came around in 2002. It is a method for procuring and developing and financing building of construction facilities, particularly education facilities on there. We've actually had this in our guidance as a guidance document for that. When looking at it, we decided we should make it actually a policy, because what happens under the act, if you want to implement a use particular procedure, you actually have to have a policy that the school board adopted. We had the guidance, which we've had for many years, that wasn't actually formally adopted by the school board, so we thought it was necessary to turn it into a policy. The guidance is something we've had for a long time. Adopted on here. About this particular procedure, it is another method for you to finance, not be able to finance construction on there. I think Mr. Arnold's in the audience. He can answer this. I think you look around, you're starting to see this procedure in other places on there. Norfolk had looked at this. Cities has another type of procedure where they can come into public-private financing. A lot of times you'll have a construction company or a financer come in and say, hey, I'm willing to build 5 schools for you. Here's my plan for it. When they do that, you have to be able to look at that and to take into consideration the various methods that have to go in consideration. You have to publish out there, and you have to consider other offers. But before you can do that, you have to have a policy in place, and that's what you haven't formally adopted. So while this looks like a whole lot of information, you don't really need to digest a whole lot. We looked at the Policy Review Committee. What we're going to ask you to do is go ahead and approve this at the next board meeting. So it's finally a policy that's adopted by the school board, and should this come up in the future, it will be a method. Next one we're going to look at is policy 647. This again, section 6 is curriculum instruction. This has to do with the interscholastic competition. There was not a change in the law. We just looked at the definitions. We realized that looking at interscholastic competition, it included more things than what are traditionally considered sports on there. So we went back and we verified that there are different organizations that have policies that apply to this. There are also activities that were not included in that. So we decided it would be better off to just take out the actual activities out of there and just look at the overall competition. And then note that you would have to follow the policies relative to the organization that oversees that competition. So that is the only change we're looking at in 647. Next one we're actually going to end up pulling back, but I'm going to explain it to you because it leads into the policy that follows afterwards. Policy 656 is student travel for school-sponsored events. It used to be called field trips. This particular policy incorporated a number of different things into a part. You'll see at the beginning was overnight trips, they're privately sponsored trips, there's international travel, then there has to do with transportation. If you're going to take into students from one school to another and the bus, how do you do that? Can the parents take them? Can the kids drive themselves on that? And looked at some, and there also things having to do with school athletic events. When we looked at it, the policy review committee realized we were talking about a number of different things here, and they didn't all actually go together on that. And so we originally were pulling out international travel, and that's going to be the next policy you see. In the meantime, since we made the recommendation to split out the policy, which is what is in your packet right now, we've had some further discussions that came up this. We decided that we wanted to break down the portion on field trip and transportation to separate legislation. So we're actually going to pull that back. We have a policy review on Thursday. We're going to break that back down into a regulation and a policy, and so that'll come back to you. It's not going to look significantly different. We just thought it was better explained in that sense. So just to give you the background for 656, that may make it back to you by the September meeting. It may not make it back, it may come back in October. It just depends on the policy review. Which brings us to 656, which is a new policy, 657, I'm sorry, international travel. What we decided after looking at this was that we would set a separate policy out for international travel. We've always had an international travel policy in place. After 9/11, we started looking at this. At that time, most school districts in the country just stopped international travel. It was not safe for us to send our students out on there. And so we were simply not doing that. But as we decided, we started looking at the Global Studies and World Language Academy. We realized that that was an important component of what they were doing. So we had then amended the policy, and we allowed for certain types of trips that were under that particular academy at the time. There's also a program we have at TCC, which for 1 year we took students out to Ireland for that one. We developed an exception for that. But the Policy Review Committee looked at that and realized if our mission statement is really going to be that we are a lifelong learner who is responsible, productive, and engaged citizen in the global community, then we needed to open up the opportunity to other students, not just the Global World Studies Academy. There were long discussions with various administrators in the Global World Studies Academy, and they felt that they have a unique opportunity over their academy to do these exchange programs and travel during the year. So we didn't want to take that away from the academy because that is unique to that particular academy on there. But we did recognize that there might be times when we would want to send students out. There are times, I think it was actually Norfolk had, one of their bands was invited to go over for the Queen's 50th celebration in London. So that was a unique opportunity. There might be opportunities, something like that came up for us. So we wanted to open that up. We wanted some rules on that. So this particular policy was placed, and then we broken it out by authorized international travel. Again, it's not going to be automatic. Everybody's not taking a straight trip to Spain or Germany on this one. Those are going to they have to be curriculum based to do that. You will see private trips out there. There's private trips that are like EF and some of the other groups that do that. That's not what this policy deals with. This policy deals with when the school division is doing that. We are going to limit that to curriculum-based or some type of competition relevant to an extracurricular activity or club on there, and there will also be rules for that. The second part is the Global World Studies Academy. After looking with Policy Review Committee on Thursday, some of the wording might be tweaked, but it is essentially going to look like this one. Final one we have before you tonight is 687. That's the Governor's School for the Arts. As you can see, it was a one-line sentence. As a parent of a student at the Governor's School for the Arts, I know that there's a lot more involved in this particular program. And so I went back and looked at their mission statements. I just pulled the documents off of their mission statements and incorporated that a little bit more into that. It does not actually do anything. The final my understanding will be Ms. Melnick coming into that. Not change authorizing.
Ms. Manning?
I have a question on the first one, the public-private partnerships. So is it my understanding, and I read through this, is it my understanding that if this is something that we would do, if the school board would approve partnership after going through the proper bidding procedures, that this would also have to be approved by City Council?
We do school site selection. We do a lot of times work with a school site on this, often involved in that. But it would depend on the way that the project. So again, part of this is also going to be into your any of your budget issues. You would probably incorporate building something in there. So I would have to tell you, depending on the way the project came up, that would be better answer. Mr. Arnold may be able to.
Okay, and does it change debt capacity in any way?
This itself doesn't. This is all incorporated in the normal process. The city's not going to allow it to be unsafe. So this is just This is just simply another method for accomplishing what you want. Something that the law allows, but make it open to the public, you have to follow some procedures.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. McDonald?
Thank you. For the policy on international travel, thank you for the explanation about why the wording under the field trips or school trips was struck and it was separated out into, we aren't going to do it to, we are going to do it and here's some rules. I guess my question on that is, what do we continue to need a separate exception statement in the policy for the Global Studies Academy if we've already set these rules in the major part of the policy?
We had a lot of discussion about this, and one of the things that if you take a look at the way it's currently written is, and this might be something you want to consider between now and the next time we come back, is that for the international, under Section A, under Policy 567, they have to be approved travel, has to be curriculum-based on there. It also, the funding can't come through, it can't be funded by school board funds on there, whereas you could under the Global Studies Academy, because it's part of the budget, you do that on there. Also, there would have to be some approval for it. We do at times with Global World Studies allow those students to leave during the year to do that. I know we've done some to Israel where they've gone out and we have students back with that. That may not be something we would do in Section A. Section A might be the football team got invited to play in a demonstration game and they would go up there for that. We may not allow them. It's not that different on there, but we felt that there was enough concern by the school administration that the Global World Studies be separated out so they were allowed to do different things might allow regular school. Otherwise, we have students leaving all the time and there'd be some concern.
That is understandable. So knowing that, I would actually like to see that exception be more specific to the issues that you raise, rather than it be a blanket exception to policy for that academy.
You're talking Section A, unauthorized international travel, you want to limit?
No, in their exception to the academy exception, I would like it spelled out what the exceptions actually are. I think right now it's sort of a blanket statement.
And as I mentioned, we're at Policy Review Committee on Thursday, so we can bring that right up on Thursday.
Okay. Continuing on the Governor's School for the Arts, I kind of bumped against the additional language, thinking that it wasn't necessary, and I'm not. And I foresee language taken from a mission statement from that school, possibly changing and us having to change it to match it, and possibly striking in the future. I would actually suggest to the board to go back to the one-liner. Thank you.
Would you like me to have that brought back to Policy Review?
I would. Thank you.
Ms. Weems?
Yeah, I had some questions also on the public-private education. So, and this might be a Farrell or back there in the back. So I'm hearing that it's not going to change the debt capacity, therefore not mess up with the bond rating of the city. So this is just another way to get funds to do a project, so it's not going to mess up what's already existing on the board. Like, it's not going to shove out one of our already projects, correct? Or can you clarify?
Yeah, I don't, there are unsolicited and solicited proposals. And so you really can't predict if you have an unsolicited proposal that comes in from the private marketplace. In all honesty, it has the potential to impact what I would call outer years projects.
Yep, and bumpings and things, yeah.
Maybe 4, 5, and 6. Projects like Princess Anne Middle, for example, that is at design development. Princess Anne High School, where you've got 5,
Right.
the bulk of hanging off of outside of the program. Yes, it absolutely.
Yeah. And that's when it gets interesting.
Or even some of our other high schools that are aging at this time, correct?
Oh, sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
There's knowledge in our marketplace, but we've accomplished a lot. Modernized place. But there's also an acknowledgement.
Right.
Contractors who work
Thank you.
Ms. Rye?
Yes, so if I may add, this actually mirrors the city policy, and we were fortunate enough to have, in addition to Mr. Arnold, Dana Harmeyer from the city attorney's office. And, and he shared, and it was shared previously about city projects that have gone this route, the Animal Control Center, the Sandler Center. And it's just, we're at a point in time where, thinking outside the box is probably the responsible thing to do, to at least have a mechanism in place. So if such proposals come forward in the future, we don't have to scramble around with the how. The how is there. We could focus on the what and the why.
Thank you, Ms. Rye. Mr. McDonald? Right.
You would have to look at the proposal and then look at everything else you're doing, make a decision whether you want it or not. You're not required by somebody submitted this way to accept it. You always will have the right to look at it.
Mr. McDonald?
Mrs. Our legal counsel,
Linetti.
I wanted to say Mulletti, and that's not correct. Thank you. Actually said exactly what I wanted to make sure that we were aware of, is that the policy doesn't mean anything's happening automatically as far as our financing for projects. This is whether solicited or unsolicited, it will still come before the board. We will still have to have the conversation about the funding that we're putting into it and the impact on our overall capital improvement program. We may not actually use this for 20, 30 years if we want to stay somewhat on track with what we already have going on, correct?
Correct, and it's like, you look at something like, when Norfolk wasn't looking at building all the schools that they wanted to build at one time, it came to them from the outside. So sometimes there might be innovative ideas you haven't thought about that really come in. You simply don't have the mechanism to do this. All this is a mechanism for you to consider something, to the option to consider. Correct.
I like the way Mr. Arnold put it in the policy meeting when he said, when a proposal comes in at this point in time without this policy, we can't even open the envelope. But with this policy, we are allowed to open the envelope now and take a look at it. So basically, that's what it allows us to do. Okay, any other questions or comments? Okay, thank you very much. This concludes our formal meeting. Madam Clerk, do we have any speakers on non-agenda items?
Did we want to do standing committee reports?
I'm sorry, I skipped over something. Yes. Do we have any standing committee reports? Are there any? Okay, moving on. Now this concludes our formal meeting. Madam Clerk, do we have any speakers on non-agenda items?
Yes, ma'am, we do.